YouTube channel on Plus TV Africa, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn as well. Thank you for staying with us. Until next time, I remain your host, Irene Ubani.
Mona Lisa is all about me. It's all about you. It's all about our stories. The stories that never get told, but ought to.
Whereby water transportation does not make financial sense, it makes economic sense.
I was there for 2.5 hours on the floor. Nobody attended to me.
If we don't take care of the poor will take care of us.
It's about getting at the root of things and hearing from the horse's mouth.
We are 15 public hospitals to make them affordable.
In the whole of Africa, we are bigger. You know, Nigeria, we sleep, eat, dream, fashion.
Those with the financial backing don't see fashion as an investment, which makes no sense.
If they do it for free, they won't have money for the next case.
Mona Lisa is about real life and real lives, yours and mine. Make a date with Mona Lisa, and together, let's ensure that the important stories get told.
Nigeria spends about $8 billion annually on the importation of vehicles. Although in the 1970s, passenger cars and commercial trucks were assembled in Nigeria, but this didn't last for a very long time, as production capacity in the capital-intensive plants began to drop drastically by late 1980s, leading to losses for the assembly plants. Commercial truck plants were even more affected, with market demand declining from 36,000 in 1977 to 14,440 by 1981. Another local assembly plant also saw its annual production drop from 29,300 in 1981 to less than 1,000 in 1989 and in 2005. The once booming sector, which created mass jobs and economic growth, was largely affected by corruption, epileptic power supply, government inconsistency, and a drop in oil prices. This led to an increase in importation of vehicles into the country. In a bid to reduce importation and boost local production, the government set an automotive policy in 2014. But this has not been very effective, as reports from the National Bureau of Statistics showed that Nigeria imported over 1.2 million new and used vehicles into the country between 2012 and 2017. Plus TV Africa spoke with local importer Mr. Kunle on the effects of this policy and prospects for growing the automobile industry in Nigeria. Thank you for having us at yours. So how long have you been in the business of importation of vehicles, and how easy has it been for you?
I've been in the importation of cars for the past 15 years. And when I want to talk about being easy, bringing cars from abroad, it's been fine, but we still have a little challenge. First, we face the challenge of government, and we face the challenge of exchange rate as well. So these are the two challenges we have.
The National Bureau of Statistics said that from 2012 to 2017, Nigeria has imported that both new vehicles and Tokumbo vehicles, that's fairly used vehicles, we've imported over 1.2 million cars into the country. And then annually we spend $8 billion on an average, right, on importation of vehicles, which is very high. What would you say the reason for these high figures have been?
Nigeria don't produce car. If Nigeria produce car, I don't believe we'll be spending so much money on bringing car from other countries to our country. So if Nigerian government can be able to produce Nigerian-made car, I believe bringing car from abroad will reduce.
And following the auto policy, which said that for new vehicles, the tariff on it would be 70%, and then the tariff on fairly used vehicles will be 35%. How did it affect your business? Did it affect your businesses in any way?
The 70% increasement of duty The only area I can say it affects our business is because the average Nigerian, the average Nigerian camp that buy car from us, they don't buy like the way they used to buy because of the prices. When we bring car in, the car we sell for like, for example, initially we used to sell this Corolla 2004 model for 1.4 million naira. But when the increment goes for 75%, the car go higher to 2 million naira. So, and as I said, the little Nigerian guys, men, women, that just start their life, that want to get family car, they go for Corolla, easily using car, you know, but they cannot afford it because of the tariff. The only help I can tell Nigerian government to do for us is to please reduce the tariff of the importation.
In a bid to address the deficit in the economy, the Nigerian government initiated the National Automobile Industry Development Plan with the aim to attract foreign direct investment, curtail the dependence on importation of vehicles, and promote local production of automobiles. The introduction led to an increase in import tariffs for vehicles, attracting international car manufacturers and leading to the resumption of small-scale vehicle assembly. Although Nigeria boasts of having the first made-in-Africa automobile brand, Innocent Motors, importers like Kunle still think it is not readily available for purchase.
If you are telling me about Nigerian-made car now, I can't tell you where the office works, and I cannot even tell you I've seen one of the car. I only see it on the internet or on television. So that's the only thing I can say. If the man in question can be able to produce the car much for Nigerian to see, and he has a shop for it, a showroom for it, for people to come and have sex, to come and feel the car, I believe Nigeria we patronize Nigerian-made car than bring a car from up. Because one, I believe it's going to be cheaper than buying from abroad. Second, you are not exchange naira to dollar to bring new car. So it means you are buying a Nigeria used car with our naira.
He spoke on ways the government can be of help.
So how do you think the government can support importation of vehicles and also rejuvenate the already existing manufacturing plants that are in the country but are not fully operational?
If Nigerian government can say, okay, today we want all the government officials to be using Nigerian used car, Nigerian made car. So I believe it's going to even increase the level of production of Nigerian made car.
We have the Ajaokuta Steel Company, and I know that steel is a very important part of car manufacturing. How well do you think we've been able to maximize this potential and resource that we have here in Nigeria?
After Nigeria now, I don't think they know about what is called Ajaokuta. Even though they know about Ajaokuta, what did they produce? Nothing. We don't know. You understand? So government need to create awareness in everything they are doing so that the youth, okay, for example, some will say they went to school to go and read engineer, mechanical engineer. By the time they come out, nothing to show up on a mechanical engineer. They'll find themselves doing something else. And Ajaokuta still is there. So what's the company for? Is it not for the children that went to school to go and read engineer, to go there to go and do something? So everything still bounce back to government. If government really serious about the Ajaokuta stay, I believe Ajaokuta will produce a lot of things in this country. And many youth of this country will get something to do.
All right, thank you very much for having us at yours today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, madam.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bukky November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Right, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
We are not yet at a point where a lawyer like Fashola should be the Minister of Housing. We are not there yet.
But what about the social implications that are much more than an architect?
Even if we get a 3-digit number, will our computers work?
There is no hope. Let's not deceive us.
But doesn't mean that there isn't hope, because I believe so that there is hope.
Oh, you must be with one woman. You must be with. This is how Igbo ways. African
as your wife
ways
is in on it, we have no problem.
Different.
We have that value system that we got from our royal days and everything. That gives us a sense of identity.
My question is, who is the we?
Which part?
That's going to allow for an Igbo presidency in 2023? Because I mean, it is not you and I.
If we want to have the last presidency based on rotation,
yes, then
we
needs
better
to
just
be
go
an
to the
Igbo
Southeast,
presidency.
finish with him, and then say the post is now open.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now. And that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright. I really like you.
Many thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines. I am Amaka Okui. Now, barely 2 weeks after suspected Fulani herdsmen killed 12 people in the Mangu local government area of Plateau State, no fewer than 13 persons were on Monday confirmed killed in yet a fresh attack by gunmen in the Bokos local government area of the state. Some villagers on Monday said that the latest attack, which took place in Kwatas community on Sunday night, also left others injured. The new police public relations officer in the state, Uba Ogaba, who confirmed the attack, said the command had deployed more men in the community to ascertain the situation of things. Authority of Nigeria Police Force Imo Command says it boasts of finest quality men and officers across the Federation. The commissioner in the state, CP Bolaji Fafawora, stated this at the command's headquarters while addressing journalists at his maiden briefing. CP Bolaji, who took over from the past CP Rabiu Lododo, said he will consolidate on the great feat achieved by his predecessor. The police boss took the opportunity to parade some crime suspects while attributing the successes to the dogged and tireless efforts of men and officers of the command.
The command boasts of a crop of officers and men that can be best described as hardworking, loyal, and dedicated, and I am optimistic that Imolites will continue to enjoy relative peace and tranquility. I therefore want to use this medium to warn all criminals or intending criminals to either repent and desist from crime or leave Imo State, as the command and other security agencies has resolved to make the state very hot, unfriendly, and uncomfortable for them.
They said that they must to break the local government and enter. I left them and go home with my gun. Do you understand? And my car jumped suspension, Honda baby boy. I went where I'm walking the car. I don't know what actually happened there again. What I heard again is that they have shot somebody there. Do you understand?
I was on church on Sunday. Then police came and arrested me there. Said that they are investigating a case of murder. So I not kill anybody. I don't have gun. I'm not a vigilante member. I'm still surprised here. So I pray, let them freeze the investigation and free me.
Meanwhile, victims of violence and the less privileged Nigerians in the southern parts of Kaduna State have received humanitarian aid, including foodstuff and clothing items. A non-governmental organization visited some of the displaced victims in the Kafanchan area of Kaduna and emphasized the need to reach out to many people who have been displaced by violence.
That the Northeast and the North in general need support, critical support. Looking at the insurgency, discrepancy when it comes to educational level. So we this year want to also give more focus to the northern part of Nigeria to see how we can provide some basic amenities in support of what the government is doing. So having to come to Kamancha today is just a pointer to us saying that Nigerians need to be supported, Nigerians need to come up, support ourselves. We need to also support the government because critically the government cannot do it alone.
We need to appreciate him because he is here to change people's life, most especially orphans, widows, widowers.
Something that we didn't expect in this local government. We are happy also.
He said you can only give what you have. That is in terms of love. Giving love to those who deserve to. Love is for everyone. Love is not something that is meant to be restricted to a particular group.
Away from that story now, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, has met with Christian leaders in Adamawa State over the gruesome murder of the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Michika Branch, Reverend Lawan Andimi, by Boko Haram terrorists. Mustapha, while lamenting the incidents, assured people that the federal government will do all it can to rid the nation of crime and criminality.
It was a visit expected to show solidarity with the Christian community in Adamawa State. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, described the security situation in the country as challenging, saying in the last few years it has metamorphosed into several hydra-headed monsters.
Several years ago, we started with the issue of Boko Haram restricted to the Northeast. As we were making tremendous progress with Boko Haram in the Northeast, issues of banditry started in the Northwest. In the north central part of the country, the issue of intense farmer herders crisis. Another dimension just unleashed itself. We were not used to the violent crime of kidnapping. In the last 1 decade, it was too alien to us, but now it has become a major security concern, and that is prevalent across the divides, across the different regions of this country. So you can see that the security challenges that is confronting us as a nation is multi-headed. You deal with one, another one erupts.
Mr. Mustafa described the death of Reverend Lawan Andimi, who was recently killed by Boko Haram terrorists, as unfortunate, expressing optimism that the group will soon be dealt with.
We thought we had gotten over and Boko Haram had been degraded. Substantially it had. But we've seen a new version with a lot of viciousness in some of the happenings. We acknowledge that we are not totally out of the woods yet. The government is putting up a lot of things to deal decisively with that. It's a contention, there is a contention for the soul of our country. And this is where our collective resolve as a people is very, very important.
The Adamawa State CAN Chairman Bishop Stephen Mamza, while thanking the federal government for the show of love and concern, called on both Muslim and Christian faithful to do more, especially through naming and shaming crime. Bishop Mamza said this will go a long way in telling criminals there is no hiding place in God's sanctuaries.
We know the members of the Boko Haram claim to be working for Islam and on behalf of Islam. But we also know that this is not the thinking and also the belief of Muslims in Nigeria. And we also want at all the times that the Muslim community should also continue to disown such people, so that even we as Christians, if we have such people that are bringing lack of peace within the community that happen to be Christians, we also will be able to disown them. If the Muslim community are able to come together, the good Muslims and the good Christians are able to come together, we support the security, we support the government in order to bring about peace in our country.
And still on national matters, the Lagos State government has decried the rate of motorcycle and tricycle accidents on roads across the state. In order to check this, the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omotosho, announced that the government would enforce the ban on motorcycles and tricycles in 6 local government areas, as well as major highways and bridges from February the 1st. He explained that the decision was taken after a robust assessment of the debate on the rate of accidents in Lagos, saying security and safety of the lives of the residents were paramount. From 2016 to 2019, there were over 10,000 accidents recorded at the General Hospital alone.
After consultations with stakeholders, the State Security Council, in compliance with the Extant Transport Sector Reform Law 2018, has decided to commence enforcement of the law which bans the operation of motorcycles and tricycles in the following local governments and local council development areas: Apapa Local Government and Apapa Igamu SCDA, Lagos Mainland Local Government and Yaba SCDA, Surulere Local Government and Itire Ikate and Kuka Aguda SCDAs, Ikeja Local Government, Onibombo and Ojodu SCDA, Etiosa Local Government, Ikoyi Obalende and Iru Victoria Island SCDAs, Lagos Island Local Government and Lagos Island East SCDA. The full enforcement begins on February 1, 2020. This is the first stage.
Areas where we're phasing out Okada as well as Keke Napep would roll out more buses and ensure that our people are adequately served. So we've looked into that. The key point here is that we need to make transportation safe. Keke Napep and Okada in those areas in particular are not safe. They contribute to congestion and we need to remove the gridlocks. So the STMP, that's the Strategic Transport Master Plan, is being rolled out and those areas will be served adequately with buses.
Away from that story, Lassa fever has claimed 29 lives across 11 states of the Federation. The Ministry of Environment, while revealing this to journalists in Abuja, urged Nigerians to focus on proper hygiene and ensure that their environment are clean. The Minister Mohammed Mahmoud also reiterated the federal government's commitment to battling the epidemic.
The Federal Minister of Environment has directed all environmental health professionals in the Federation, in the federal level, state and local government, to immediately re-embark on the following. 1. Massive awareness campaign on the need to keep the environment clean. 2. Environmental health surveillance of premises to identify rodent harborage, destroy, eradicate rodent homes, commercial and industrial premises. Effective pest and vector control services in residential and commercial premises, notably deratization of marketplaces and homes. The Ministry of Environment remains committed to ensuring a clean and healthy environment for all Nigerians. I therefore call on all members of the public to keep their surroundings clean and be vigilant.
Meanwhile, national matters, the federal government has secured about $1.1 billion for the implementation of its new agricultural scheme known as the Green Imperative Program, GIP. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Sabo Nanono, while inaugurating an 18-month steering committee to drive the program in Abuja, said the initiative will be completely private sector driven. Our correspondent, Amadine Uyi, reports.
The program, which is estimated at about $1.1 billion, almost 400 billion naira, is to be funded by the Brazilian government through a loan from the Deutsche Bank, Development Bank of Brazil, and the Islamic Development Bank. It is also expected to ensure training of project beneficiaries for about 10 years and establishment of about 780 service centers to assist smallholder farmers prepare the soil, cultivate, and harvest farm produce. The loan is expected to be paid at 3% interest rate over a period of 15 years for the Development Bank of Brazil and 7 years, including 2 years moratorium for the Deutsche Bank. It will also enable Nigeria acquire 10,000 units of tractors and 50,000 units of assorted implements and equipment for assembly in the country.
We are guaranteeing and we are creating the space. That is our major role. But the drivers will be the public sector.
The Minister of Agriculture warned that with the rising population of the country, mechanized agriculture across all the local government areas has become extremely important.
This country, as of today, we are talking of 200 million people. They are saying in the next 3 decades we are likely to hit 400 million people. Well, you can imagine that we need to feed these people. And when you are talking of Nigeria, you don't talk of Nigeria alone. It also incorporates the West African sub-region. That the project will be a landmark achievement to drive the agricultural sector of Nigeria to the next level. Under this arrangement, the Brazil government is committed to funding the project with a loan of $1.1 billion in kind from the 3 banks, namely Deutsche Bank, BNDES, which is the Development Bank of Brazil, and Islamic Development Bank, at 3% concessionary interest rate.
Already the first tranche of $150 million has been deposited with the Central Bank of Nigeria for the takeoff of the project, which has a lifespan of 10 years. Amadine Uyi, Plus TV Africa. The program, which is estimated at about $1.1 billion.
And the news will continue after this short break. We will be back in a moment. Please stay with us. And we go to the African scenes where Sudanese Attorney General Tag El-Sir El-Hibir said on Sunday evening that the handover of the ousted President Omar al-Bashir to the International Criminal Court depends on the results of the ongoing peace negotiations and other parties, including the victims and their families, as well as legal issues that require consideration. The Sudanese government is conducting peace negotiations with armed movements and political groups on 5 parts: Darfur, the 2 governorates of South Kordofan and Blue Nile of the country, Northern Sudan and Central Sudan. And that will be it on the African scenes. Up next will be the foreign news.
And to the foreign scenes, where the death toll from the new coronavirus now stands at 106, as cases of new infections have almost doubled in a day, Chinese authorities have said. The number of total confirmed cases in China rose to 4,515 as of the 27th of January, up from 2,835 a day earlier. Now, travel restrictions have been tightened and wearing masks in public is now mandatory in some cities. The city of Wuhan is at the epicenter of the outbreak, but it has spread across China and internationally. Wuhan and the province it is located in Hubei are already effectively in lockdown with transport restrictions in and out of the area. Still on the foreign scenes, at least 8 people have been killed when a massive fire destroyed dozens of boats in a marina in the U.S. state of Alabama on Monday. The fire quickly spread as people slept at Jackson County Park in Scottsboro. The aluminum roof of the wood dock collapsed and some of the boats sank. 7 people who jumped into the water were rescued and taken to hospital. It was not clear what caused the fire. Rescue teams will search the water to make sure there are no other victims. The fire started early at 40 hours local time and engulfed 35 vessels from houseboats to pontoons docked on the Tennessee River. The identities of the victims have yet not been released. And that's it on the foreign scenes. Coming up next is the business news. Stay with us.
And in business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has predicted the growth of Nigeria's economy in 2020 by 2.35%. The Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele, while speaking to newsmen after the CBN's Monetary Policy Committee meeting in Abuja, said available macroeconomic variables predict a good year for the country. Emefiele added that the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and the World Bank's projections also predict over 2% growth rate, which shows that Nigeria is on course in its economic recovery growth plan.
Available data on key macroeconomic variables show prospects of improved output growth for the economy in 2020. Revised projections for 2020 show that the economy is expected to grow by 2.5% by the IMF, 2.1% by the World Bank, and 2.35% by the CBN. The underlying projection is anchored on the following conditions: enhanced flow of credit to the real sector of the economy, sustained stability in the exchange rate, continued CBN interventions in agriculture and non-agricultural small and medium enterprises, and the effective implementation of the economic recovery and growth plan.
Meanwhile, stock markets tumbled worldwide on Monday as investors' worries about the potential economic impact of the coronavirus drove up prices of safe haven assets such as Japanese yen and government debt. China's yuan slid to a 2020 low, and commodity-linked currencies such as the Australian dollar fell on mounting concerns about the coronavirus. The yen was the main beneficiary, though its move higher was limited. Crude prices dropped below $60 a barrel for the first time in nearly 3 months, while gold prices surged 1% to nearly a 3-week high before paring gains. Benchmark U.S. Treasury yields fell to lows last seen in early October, while the yield on 10-year German bonds, the Eurozone benchmark, fell to the lowest in almost 2 months. Key indexes for British, French and German equity markets slid more than 2%, and did pan-European markets. Stocks on Wall Street fell more than 1%. Major markets in Asia, including China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, South Korea, Singapore and Australia, were closed on Monday. And that's all on business news at this hour. I am Irene Ubani. Still ahead on Plus TV Africa is our roundup on entertainment and sports. We'll be back in a moment.
Mona Lisa is all about me. It's all about you. It's all about our stories. The stories that never get told, but ought to.
Whereby water transportation does not make financial sense, it makes economic sense.
I was there for 2.5 hours on the floor. Nobody attended to me.
If we don't take care of the poor will take care of us.
It's about getting at the root of things and hearing from the horse's mouth.
We are 15 public hospitals to make them affordable.
In the whole of Africa, we are bigger. In Nigeria, we sleep, eat, dream, fashion.
Those with the financial backing don't see fashion as an investment, which makes no sense.
If they do it for free, they won't have money for the next case.
Mona Lisa is about real life and the real lives, yours and mine. Make a date with Mona Lisa, and together, let's ensure that the important stories get told.
Welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways.
These girls that are being trafficked, most times they are told that they're going there to work.
Absolutely.
Without even knowing who they're going to meet.
Absolutely. Polygamy is causing poverty, backwardness in the north. I think we should put a law. Have just one child. Working with a lot of tradesmen in Nigeria, I mean, my first few years was kind of hard, but he who pays the piper, it takes the tune.
The type of architecture you see in New York, you see 60, 80-story buildings, is because they have a strong economy.
What has been your biggest challenge? Availability of machines, materials. We're very, very limited in what we have.
Somebody says, oh, why am I putting in so much reinforcement? I can do it cheaper. I know the last project I did, there was no problem. You just need one bad mistake, and the implication is life.
And in entertainment, Nicki Minaj's brother Jelani Maraj has been sentenced to 25 years to life in prison for predatory sexual assault against a child. According to a court spokesperson, he was also sentenced to 364 days in prison for endangering the welfare of a child. Maraj was found guilty of the crimes after a trial in 2017. Jelani Maraj's attorney David M. Schwartz said they will be appealing this excessive sentence, stating there was clear juror misconduct amongst other issues. Jelani Maraj was first charged in the case back in April 2016. He was accused of repeatedly raping his stepdaughter, beginning when she was 11 years of age. And that's it on entertainment. The very best in sports coming up right after this.
And in sports, Sri Lanka defeated Nigeria by 233 runs to secure a place in the Plate League semi-finals at the ongoing Under-19 Cricket World Cup in South Africa. The Asians' third place finished in Group A, as well as Nigeria's bottom place in Group B, after losing all of their group matches, saw both sides condemned to the Plate League quarterfinals. And Sri Lanka has now qualified for the Plate semi-finals, while the Junior Yellow Greens of Nigeria have been relegated to the Plate playoff semi-finals to take place on Thursday. And still in sports, Ashley Barty became the first Australian woman to reach the semi-finals at her home Grand Slam for 36 years with victory over Petra Kvitova in an absorbing encounter at the Australian Open. The top seed made 2019 runner-up Kvitova pay for a host of missed chances in a 7-6, 6-2 victory, and she will then go on to face American 14th seed Sofia Kenin next. And Kenin reached her first major semi-finals after a 6-4, 6-4 win over Ons Jabeur. And that's it on Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I'm Udoka Njoko. We'll go on a break now, and when we return, the news continues.
Thank you, Udoka Njoko, with the sports news. And that's our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is at Plus TV Africa. We will be back again with more stories making the headlines. Remember to join us again. I am Amaka Okoye, and have yourselves a great day. The question is, would you stop your seemingly comfortable 9-to-5 job for a job that is not? Well, that is what this show focuses on, where we talk to individuals who are doing tremendously great outside of 9 to 5 in pursuit of their passion. Today, we are at Fit Magodo, where we'll be speaking with Jane Amuta, who has left everything, so to say, in pursuit of her passion.
Post NYSC, I worked as a staff of Fidelity Bank, and after a while I had to quit paid employment because I needed to pursue something that gives me more joy. And it's only logical and natural for me to go into fitness because it's always been my passion, and I needed to earn a living doing exactly what I love. So my passion, fitness, became a business option for me. And that's why we have Fit Magodo. Fitness has always been a passion for me, and after paid employment, it's just logical and natural that I do something that gives me happiness, and I just wanted to earn a living doing exactly what I love. So that's why I turned my passion into a business. When I told most of my friends that I was going to quit banking and go into fitness as a business, a lot of people thought I was crazy because fitness is seen as something very macho, not really a typical business path for a lady. But one thing is, once you're passionate about something, it's like a force. So I knew where I was heading to, and I believed I was going to do something spectacular out of this. And so I didn't only come out, I took so many fitness courses and programs because I knew then and now that fitness is a very serious business and should not be undertaken by quacks. So knowing how complex the human body is, if you are going into business as a fitness, you must understand fully how it works so that people who are under your care in pursuit of fitness, they don't end up with injuries. And so that's why I can say I'm a certified fitness trainer, and I have a lot of knowledge concerning what I do and what I love. When I was sure of the path to follow, which is fitness, I decided first I need to get a space and then set it up to international standard, and then I knew what I wanted, and it took me like 6 months to set up the place because I needed to get the right ambience for the gym. And then because Fit is not only a gym, we have the salons and we have the spa because we are all about the total well-being. And my experience so far has been so good because the fitness industry is really, really growing in Nigeria and everywhere because people are beginning to marry the relationship between health and physical activity. So a lot of people want a qualitative life, and then people want to live longer. And then because a lot of people are here not only for the aesthetics, people are here for health reasons, because you need to eat healthy and then you need to be physically active to stay in top shape. So my experience so far has been so good because people really want to embrace anything that keeps them here for much longer. And then as a fitness instructor, people see you as someone who is like a lifesaver, because a lot of people are struggling with so many things, and then when they know that there is somebody who they can identify with, who can help them out, and then they're good to go. And so far so good. I can say that this is the right path for me, and if I should take a second, if I should do this all over again, I will also choose fitness because I really, really love it. And I'm having so much fun because this is my life.
What I think about Jane, I believe she's a very strong lady, someone who likes to work out a lot, and her body speaks volume. I believe she's an inspiration to other lady out there who wants to achieve the same goal. My experience at the gym, it's been wonderful. They have a very friendly trainer here. My experience, I would say, me hardening up, bulking up, because I could remember I started very, what was my kg then? I think it was about 65. But now I can see massive improvements. I can see muscles all over me. And I'm about 72, 73 kg now.
My experience as a fitness trainer with the client, when people walk in here, mostly they don't know what fitness is all about. Most of them just walk in here and then just tell you, oh, I want to lose this particular weight, I want to look like Kim Kardashian, I want to look like Nicki Minaj and all. But then, I as a fitness trainer, like you cannot just say I want to be like this person or that person, okay? To actually achieve your dream body, you have to set a goal. They are, like, to set a goal, the goal has to be smart. Like, you cannot just say, I want to be like this person or that person, okay? To actually achieve your dream body, you have to set a goal gradually, okay? So my experience here with clients, because most of them don't understand a lot about fitness, so I have to explain to them how goals are being set and achieved. And then, well, you know, most clients are not really used to exercise, so you have to be patient with them.
1, 2, forward, and press, back up. You have one more. 1, 2, 3, go. Down, go back. That's it, catch your breath.
Okay, putting them through from a very low level. Okay, you have to come down, like assuming you're starting together. Okay, so from there, they get to understand a lot of things. And then, as being patient with the client is actually the key. because knowing this is my field and then it's not their own field, so patience is one key that is required. And then with that, I think we will both achieve a good goal.
Fitness is my passion, fitness is my life, and if I am to choose between fitness and being a banker, I would definitely go for fitness, because this is like doing what I love while making a living, and it's financially more rewarding. And so I can say that I took the best decision for me because I feel more fulfilled, and this is my life. Will I take a 9 to 5 o'clock job? Hell no. Because this is my life, and this is where I come alive. My name is Jane Amuta. I'm a banker turned fitness trainer. This is not your regular 9 to 5. This is my life.
This is our life.
Well, still on the show, we continue to our next stop, Ogun State, to meet with yet another young man, Mayowa Awopeju, who left the four walls of a bank and HR consultancy to follow his passion, which is, your guess is as good as mine, shoe production.
My name is Mayowa Awopeju. I'm the creative director of MV Signature. MV Signature has two segments. So we have the shoe factory and we have the garment factory. So at the shoe factory, we do a lot of school sandals, security boots, and we do a lot of personal designs as well. So if you want to produce your design, we do that as well. Degree was in banking and finance. After my master's, I came back to Nigeria. You know, the hustle of getting a job, looking for a job, and I actually got a job as an HR manager in a company. And what struck me was, what I was earning as a salary was less than my monthly allowance when I was in school. It was about 40% less. And after that was struck me, and I said, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. And that was it for me. So entrepreneurship wasn't more like I was born with it. It was more like something that had to lead to that struck in me that, okay, you know what, I want something better. I want to do something better. So shoe business wasn't even in the picture at the time. When I left my job, everybody was surprised. You know, my parents were the believer that just, you know, manage. You know, you start from somewhere and you go into something. I was like, no, I can't do this anymore, you know. So I left my job without having a clue what I was going to do next. It was just a lot of prayers and praying, consultations and stuff, and say, what can I do? What next for me? Should I look for? I was looking for another job, but it was a difficult market. It was very challenging, and I remembered in uni when I was in my master's. So shoe was always a therapy for me. When I was sad or I'm bored, I just go into a shop and get myself a shoe, and that's a kind of relief for me. Buying shoes, I don't necessarily wear them. I just like seeing them, buying them, but trust they're not expensive shoes, so I could afford a bit more. So it wasn't about the expense, but I just love the shoes, the designs. I just buy them and keep. Sometimes I wear it, sometimes I don't. And I was just thinking about that the other day. I'm like, oh, we can create brands like Aldo, Zara here, and so it took me in 2013 to 2014 doing a lot of research, looking at a lot of manufacturers, looking at a lot of ways shoes can be made, how to build a shoe brand and everything. So it took me a year to draw up a business plan, to draw up a realistic business plan. So it's not just about writing words on papers. It has to be realistic. It has to be fit within your environment. It has to work in the country you're in. So when I was starting my business, I didn't have one naira. I didn't have 1 naira in me. It was crazy, but I had the idea. I had the vision of what I wanted to do. So it was just about sourcing for funds, trying to source for funds and create my design. So I used to have this artistic friend. He knows how to draw very well. So I always go to him and say, look, I have this design, I have this imagination that, can you just help me sketch out my imagination, like what I'm thinking? Can you sketch it out for me? So we did a lot of sketches and everything. So that's how I built up my portfolio of designs. So what I now did next was to partner with a factory. We send them our designs. They interpret the design into shoes. Once I approved the design, so we now go ahead with the bulk order. So about then, I used to have like about 1,000 pieces of shoes in my room. I always have this shoe stack. My room was like the shoe stack, and I had a car then. So every morning I wake up, stock up my boots with 20 pairs of shoes, driving around Lagos looking for people to buy shoes. So that's what I did that for about 3 years, since 2014, not until I did that. I got a lot of money, funny enough, so growing the business. Within that 3 years, I think I had about 11 designs. So I've done like 11 orders, different orders. So if I'm to total up all my orders within those years, would have been up to about 5,000 orders. So I was able to push 5,000 shoes through. Well, we did a lot of this online stores, selling on online platforms, personal contacts, friends, family, driving around Lagos, approaching people to, we have this cool shoes, durable shoes, do you want to buy? We struggled a bit. So now I had to go back to the books and say, okay, what have I done wrong? How can I recoup? How can I change? At that point, I knew that I can't work for anybody. Not like I can't work for anybody, but I already used to big money, so I was like, working for people is like starting from the scratch, and I didn't want to go through that stress anymore. So now I had to look for what can work. Actually, before then, we tried to diversify into tailoring. So what I do was, I approach friends and tell we make clothes and everything, take the measurement and I'll source it to this tailor that used to make my clothes and a clothes for my brothers and everything. I'll source it to him. I tell him, okay, do it like this, do it like this, do it like this. What I realized was there was a lot of disappointment, so that crashed the business entirely. So I could give him like 2 clothes, for example, to make in a week. There was a lot of disappointment. Maybe he doesn't even make the clothes in like a month, 2 months. So I lost a lot of customers with that. At that point, I'm like, this tailoring thing is not for me because I can't make clothes. So I actually abandoned that. This was when the dollar crisis was happening as well. So we went back into the books and said, oh, what can we do differently? And I now figured that it's the right time to have a shoe factory. To see what we could do with having a shoe factory. So what I did was now start accumulating resources. Start doing a little bit of research about the shoe factory industry, how it runs, how it works, and everything. So with that, we started buying things, acquiring things with the help of family, friends. We now set up the shoe factory. Where it all starts from, the designs. So this is where we get the patterns for any shoe we want to make. So this is the design department, whereby we design whichever shoe we want to make. The design is being made from shoe displays. So this is what we need to make designs, the shoe last. This is where the design is being formed of them. So these are part of the designs and pattern making and everything.
In footwear, standard footwear company, it starts with designing. Designing, I used to tell people, simple illustration is just like a strong room to the bank. That's footwear designing for you because it is the genesis. This company has started on standard, and as a matter of fact, we are not going to relent.
When the designer finishes designing, he gives it to the cutter. When the cutter cuts the components, he brings it up here to join the components together. After the components have been joined together and he gives it like the shoe shape, it goes back downstairs to the last department. So they all work intertwined together like a circle. Garment factory, we make a lot of uniforms. So we're strictly producer of uniforms. So we do a lot of uniforms. We try to shy away from daily attires. So we focus more on uniforms. So with this, we do a lot of uniforms. Our capacity is about 1,000 uniforms a month. So we produce like 1,000 uniforms a month across 3 vendors. We get patterns, we job the patterns, we cut the materials, the fabrics, and we start joining. So it's a bit more the same. So when we finish joining the materials together to get the shirt and everything, so it goes to the button tacker, and it goes to the buttonholes machine. So that's what she's doing at the moment. He's doing the cutting. So it's pretty much the same kind of technique involved. So that they are sewing leather. All this place was sewing fabrics. So that's like the major distinguished factor. So those are like the ready uniforms, ready to go. the number of time I spent with shoes, I see shoes in my dreams sometimes. Would I want to go back to a 9 to 5? I built an empire, and I can't abandon that because I've nurtured it from the very start. So it's something I hope to, to leave for my kids, something they can feed upon, building a legacy and say, oh, you know what, we did this, we did that, we did that. So with the shoe factory and the garment factory, and I think with a bit more hard work, we will get there to the point whereby we start exporting our products, whereby we have orders from all the way from all around Africa saying uniform supplies, shoe supplies, and we have to export it to all parts of Africa. So I don't think so right now that I have to go back to 9 to 5. I don't think I can do 9 to 5 anymore. I can remember sometime I had to come into the factory by 12 a.m. I had to do something. And I just I just drove out of the house and I came to the factory 12 a.m. to actually sort something they needed for the next morning, so it doesn't disturb the production. So for all the entrepreneurs, it's not about 9 to 5. It's actually 9 to 9. So we're working round the clock. So I don't think you want to leave 9 to 9 to, how much will you now make to 9 to 5 from 9 to 9? So no, I can't go back to 9 to 5. So this is not your regular 9 to 5. This is my way of life, the way I live.
We are not yet at a point where a lawyer like Fashola should be the Minister of Housing. We are not there yet.
But what about the social implications that are much more than an architect?
Even if we get a 3-digit number, will our computers work?
There is no hope. Let's not deceive us.
But doesn't mean that there isn't hope, because I believe so that there is hope.
Oh, you must be with one woman. You must be with, these are Igbo ways. African
your wife is in on it, we have no problem.
Different.
We have that value system that we got from our royal days and everything. That gives us a sense of identity.
My question is, who is the we?
Which part?
That's going to allow for an Igbo presidency in 2023. Because it is not you and I.
If we want to have the last presidency based on rotation,
yes, then
we
needs
better
to be
just
an
go to the
Igbo
Southeast,
presidency.
finish with him, and then say the post is now open.
Welcome to What Are You Saying? #ways. I feel with technology, there's so much and there's nowhere we cannot go to.
One of the biggest problems we have today are people not adhering to planning and also particularly building control.
I believe that I don't need more than a 3-bedroom apartment. But people still believe that I must own a mansion that shows that yes, I'm wealthy and all of that.
We need to be realistic and understand that we need to live in smaller and smaller spaces.
Most of the tradesmen you have are like apprentices. So they don't learn the proper ways to do things or even improve themselves to new technology, newer products, newer materials.
Why does everybody have to have an AC? Can you afford an AC? If you can't afford it, you don't need it. You have a window here, the air will pass.
So if you had one big challenge in architecture in Nigeria, what would that be?
Millennials are all in a hurry and millennials are very entitled.
Right, country people, greeting on top this very clock. When to join us for news on the hour for Plus TV Africa. This is 93 Wednesday. I want to give my name na promise. Nero. They say they don't confirm 5 more people when they die inside Taraba and Kano states, and the cases of infection that they go up. Inside Taraba State, Commissioner for Health, Innocent Vakai, he talks that the sickness affects 4 local government areas, and they will Bali, Adokola, Gazo, and Jalingo. He said they don't move those when they say they don't get contact with the victims, go Lassa Treatment Center inside Jalingo. And they don't monitor the family of the victim and about 10 other persons inside Kaduna State as the hurts. The Ministry of Environment don't tell Nigeria people who made them join the campaign against Lassa fever to see their environment and surroundings remain clean. The Minister Mohammed Mahmoud, when we say the young with talk men inside Abuja, is some blamed for the palaver when we say they happen, when we say don't claim about 29 lives across 11 states of the Federation to poor sanitary hygiene management. Our talk person, Idong Joseph Iyanos Mo.
The current outbreak of Lassa fever across the nation has already claimed several lives. According to the Ministry of Environment, 11 states have witnessed the epidemic with a fear that it will spread to more states of the nation. The ministry says it is doing all it can with the National Center for Disease Control to contain the virus. The Minister of Environment, Mohammed Mahmoud, while blaming the spread of the virus to lack of proper hygiene, says it is high time the public make efforts to improve public health and sanitation.
Citizens are advised to imbibe good sanitation and hygiene practices and take preventive and control measures that include 1. Keeping the environment clean to avoid contact with rodents. 2. Keeping food away from rodents. 3. Storing grains and other foodstuff in rodent-proof containers.
Mr. Momo says the federal government will not relent in its effort to continue educating the public on the benefit of proper hygiene management and also intensify its effort through proper cooperation among stakeholders.
The ministry is putting in place environmental health and sanitation surveillance system. This surveillance system will strengthen the cooperation between state and federal government on environmental health and sanitation issues. It will also help in information data gathering and sharing between federal, state, and local governments.
Some of the stakeholders believe the fight against Lassa fever should be a collaborative effort and urge the public to live up to their responsibilities.
The government will not come and flog an individual in his house to clean up his house. So the quicker the Nigerian community, all of us, keep our environment clean, take the issues of personal hygiene seriously, the quicker we're able to contain the epidemic.
Idong Joseph, Plus TV Africa.
A report when say Richard shows a fire that entered Sabon Market inside Chagamu, Ogun State on Tuesday morning. As of the time when we say they bring this report, that they try quench the fire. Matter of the fire palava is still the one kind, and we'll let you know more about the fire. This is just 2 weeks after suspected Fulani herdsmen killed 12 people inside the Mangu local government area of Plateau State. And they don't confirm, say, like 13 people died on Monday for one fresh begin when say government do inside Boko's local government area of the state. Some villagers tell our talk person inside Jos on Monday say the latest begin when say happened inside Quarters community on Sunday night. It don't make plenty other people injured. They said the people really need help because they surprised and say why the youth still they do not agree of the babbing and killing of their kinsmen when Mr. Boko Haram do, that they call on the government to shook mad vote because more killings they happen for the state as if human lives not get meaning again. The new police public relations officer for the state, Ogaba, he said the commander carries some men for inside the community to go see what they happen for the area. He said yes, not true. He said they get information may happen for one of the communities inside Boko's area, but their men they will go the place to know what really happened. Authority of Nigeria Police Force, IMO Command, say that the finest quality men and officers across the whole federation. The commissioner for the state, CP Bolaji Fafowora, he talked this one for inside the command headquarters as they give journalists there. CP Bolaji, when we say take over from the past CP, Rabiu Lododo, he say he put a body for inside the greetings when we say Oga don't do. And the police Oga take the opportunity to parade some crime suspect as they give the sources to dogged and tireless effort of men and officers of the command.
The command boasts of a crop of officers and men that can be best described as hardworking, loyal, and dedicated, and I am optimistic that Imolites will continue to enjoy relative peace and tranquility. I therefore want to use this medium to warn all criminals or intending criminals to either repent and desist from crime or leave Imo State, as the command and other security agencies has resolved to make the state very hot, unfriendly, and uncomfortable for them.
They said that they want to break the local government and enter. I left them and go home with my gun. Do you understand? And my car jumped suspension, Honda BB boy. I went where I'm walking the car. I don't know what actually happened again. What I heard again is that they have shot somebody there. Do you understand?
I was on church on Sunday. Then police came and arrested me there. Said that they are investigating the case of murder. So I did not kill anybody. I don't have gun. I'm not a vigilante member. I'm still surprised here. So I pray, let them freeze the investigation and free me.
The Redeemed Christian Church of God, the DO1 2020 Inspiration Conference, when they call Galvanizing for Growth, when they bring plenty industry or garden, like the Vice President of Nigeria, President of the African Development Bank, before Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment together. When we say they young give people, when we say that they show face for how to get better from success. The federal government does secure about $1.1 billion for the work of their new agricultural scheme, when they call the Green Imperative Program, GIP. That's not the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Sabo Nanono, when we say they inaugurate one 18-man steering committee to drive the program inside Abuja. Now into the work, and they say the initiative could be completely private sector driven. Our talk person, Amadou Ye, gets the report.
The program, which is estimated at about $1.1 billion, almost 400 billion naira, is to be funded by the Brazilian government through a loan from the Deutsche Bank, Development Bank of Brazil, and the Islamic Development Bank. It is also expected to ensure training of project beneficiaries for about 10 years and establishment of about 780 service centers to assist smallholder farmers prepare the soil, cultivate, and harvest farm produce. The loan is expected to be paid at 3% interest rate over a period of 15 years for the Development Bank of Brazil and 7 years, including 2 years moratorium for the Deutsche Bank. It will also enable Nigeria acquire 10,000 units of tractors and 50,000 units of assorted implements and equipment for assembly in the country.
We are guaranteeing and we are creating the space. That is our major role. But the drivers will see the public sector.
The Minister of Agriculture warned that with the rising population of the country, mechanized agriculture across all the local government areas has become extremely important.
This country, as of today, we are talking of 200 million people. They are saying in the next 3 decades we are likely to hit 400 million people. Well, you can imagine that we need to feed these people. And when you are talking of Nigeria, you don't talk of Nigeria alone. It also incorporates the West African sub-region. That
the project will be a landmark achievement to drive the agricultural sector of Nigeria to the next level. Under this arrangement, the Brazil government is committed to funding the project with a loan of $1.1 billion in kind from the 3 banks, namely Deutsche Bank, BNDES, which is the Development Bank of Brazil, and Islamic Development Bank, at 3% concessionary interest rate.
Already the first tranche of $150 million has been deposited with the Central Bank of Nigeria for the takeoff of the project, which has a lifespan of 10 years. Amadine Uyi, Plus TV Africa.
All right, the news could continue after the shaking break. Mona no go anywhere. They say two charity vessels when they say 484 migrants for the past days on Monday. Now they say they wait to bring their passengers come land for Italy and Malta. The Ocean Viking when they say SOS Mediterranean did run. It don't pick up to 407 people for 5 rescue operations since on Friday. Among them, now 152 minors when we say 10 when we say that they're under the age of 5 join and 12 pregnant women them join. From one statement, SOS Mediterranean they say they don't tell both Italian and Maltese authorities may they give one safe port as a migrant they show. They say another 77 migrants they on board for the Alan Kurdi when we say German charity CI they operate. CI Tok man Golden Isla, he say Malta no go agree take the Alan Kurdi enter their house. Sake of say they don't already they overrun with a migrant while Italy never shook mouth on top the matter. They say 2 Algerian military pilots died for one military plane crash inside Algeria's El Bouahi province, where say be 500 kilometers, 300 miles east of Algiers. Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune, a tweet early on Tuesday as he confirmed the death of the 2 pilots and said the plane a trainer aircraft. They never get any confirmation of information when they say caused the crash. All right, the next one, now our foreign news. They say people when they don't die from the new coronavirus don't enter 106, with the number of infections when they don't almost double for one day to more than 4,500. The rise come as government do work out to control the spread of the virus, and Hong Kong will need to slash cross-border travel with mainland China. Meanwhile, Japan they send one plane go Wuhan, when say be the main place of the palaver, to carry their citizens. The virus don't spread across China and to at least 16 countries for both the world. Wuhan and one wider Hubei province don't already did lockdown as they stop transport for the area. To wear masks for public don't be by force for some Chinese cities. They say Japanese head minister Katsunobu Kato talks say any person inside Japan when we say never enter Wuhan, don't already get the new coronavirus because it's everywhere for their Kyodo say the person one tour bus driver for insistence inside city of Nara, and health ministry officials are not there to shook mouth on top the matter. All right, the next one, now our business news.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
Make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi like
sleeping early.
Let's say for the Inspiration Conference, AOMB said they just finished. When say they focus on the way forward for Nigeria, as they prepare to compete alongside global economies, the Vice President and the President of the African Development Bank, both of them, they yarn about Nigeria potential and what is stand to gain with AFCFTA.
The size of business to business, consumer to consumer expenditures will rise to $5.6 trillion in the next 10 years. The size of the food and agricultural market in Africa will rise to $1 trillion just in the next 10 years. Africa's continental free trade area, which unites all the economies of the continent, will be worth a whopping $3.3 trillion. Hello? That tells you that is the largest free trade zone in the world.
Nigeria is the powerhouse, and I think that there's tremendous opportunity. Now, in the first place, already quite a few Nigerian businesses are all over Africa, especially the services. Many Nigerian banks are already in various parts of Africa. Some of our companies, Dangote and Co, in 11 different countries in Africa and all that. So there are a few companies already. So there's already a footprint of Nigerian companies doing excellently all over the world. Now, in order to benefit from the African Continental Free Trade Agreements, the first thing is in developing our own capacity internally. Because what will happen eventually, this is a trade agreement. We're going to be exporting a lot of our products to different parts of Africa. So today, what a lot of small businesses are doing should be doing is ensuring that their products are world-class, that they are excellent quality. There's so many people doing various things. People in the beauty products industry, for instance, in food. So many people working with soybeans, people working with shea butter and all of that. There's so many different products that people are coming up with now. And those products are well packaged and they are, in many cases, world class. So I think that the first thing to do is to develop our capacity locally, because while we're waiting, we're still negotiating many of the aspects of the free trade agreement. So it hasn't really taken off. So now, while we're still negotiating, while there's still time, it's important to develop one's capacity. And when you're developing your business locally, you must be thinking internationally. You must be thinking, how will what I'm producing here meet international standards?
They say Nigeria domestic demand for liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, it go up from 600,000 metric tons, go 840,000 MT. OMC show an increase of 40% as of December 2019. The president of Nigeria Liquefied Petroleum Gas, a joint body, OMC Bielga, Nuhu Yakubu, when the young gave the members for the annual general meeting, OMC they just finished, he said the industry don't record one small number of LPG operators across the entire supply and demand and distribution value chain. He put on for to the continuous growth when they record year on year. He still talk the better growth and say demand don't go up because the domestic demand, as they don't maintain one progressive and all welcoming open door, and the policy when we say it don't do ground. All right, still ahead of Top Plus TV Africa News. Now we're round up for entertainment and sports with the show back. On to entertainment, they say Nigeria singer Burna Boy don't shook mouth for the matter of singer Angelique Kidjo, when say she win the Grammy Award for Best World Music for her album Celia. The Africa giant Krona entered a social media page to Sama Congratulobia give the legendary singer for her win. Kidjo when say she did take her award, it take time to away hailings give the weight of new talent when say they come from the continent. Rapper Meek Mill don't pay tributes to late Nipsey Hussle for a new tune later to Nipsey. The Going Bad star dropping on a personal message to the star when he said die for the form of new tune. When he said take future Roddy Rich. Atlantic Records confirmed say all the money from the track will benefit Nipsey Hussle family. And they remember the rap star with all the star tribute when say feature people like Meek Mill, DJ Khaled, and John Legend for the 2020 Grammy Awards. They honor the star when say win the Best Rap Performance Prize for Racks in the Middle when say feature Roderick and Hit Boy and the Best Rap Song. And the performance for say is showface for DJ Khaled tune Higher. All right, that one of entertainment. The next one, now for sport. On the sport, there's a 20-time Grand Slam champion, Roger Federer. He fight past one injury to beat Tennis Sandgren for 3 hours and 31 minutes of 5 sets to reach the last 4 of the Australian Open. The number still beat Federer for the quarterfinals of this game, and the Swiss still win in his own past 6-5 set match and the day inside Melbourne, as he complete another great escape last week as he rallied to win John Millman. He go play the defending champion Novak Djokovic or Canada Milos Raonic. All right, now for sports. Now for you go back break on top this very clock for news on the hour for Plus TV Africa. For better and plenty information, follow us at Plus TV Africa for Facebook, for Twitter, and for Instagram. And it go make better sense when subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We go stay the summer and plenty other to read them as time they go. My name now Promise Nero. And I thank you now when they join us. We're done.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
We are not yet at a point where a lawyer like Fashola should be the Minister of Housing. We are not there yet.
But what about the social implications that are much more than an architect?
Even if we get a 3-digit number, will our computers work?
There is no hope. Let's not deceive us.
But doesn't mean that there isn't hope, because I believe so that there is hope.
Oh, you must be with one woman. You must be with, these are Igbo ways. African
as your wife is in on it, we have no problem.
Different.
We have that value system that we got from our royal days and everything. That gives us a sense of identity.
My question is, who is the we?
Which part?
That's going to allow for an Igbo presidency in 2023. Because I mean, it is not you and I.
If we want to have the last presidency based on rotation,
yes, then it
we
needs
better
to
just
be
go
an
to the
Igbo
Southeast,
presidency.
finish with him, and then say the post is now open.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Osuke.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. No question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Hi guys, this is Toby Bakre. I'm on Plus TV Africa and I'm going to be answering some of your questions. 5 fitness tips for you guys. First of all, drink lots of water. Second of all, don't eat later than 7, 8 p.m. Stay active throughout your whole day. Instead of taking the elevator, sometimes take the stairs. Stay active. Enroll in the gym. Be it yoga, be it weights, be it cardio, just, you know, something extra just to keep your body in shape. And the last one, mind your business. Am I dating anyone? At the time, very single. As in, what's another word for single? I'm like single Pringle. What are my future plans? I plan to do more in acting, more in hosting, do a lot of creative projects, work with a lot of brands, and start my own business. Will I ever do music seriously? I'm just always going to play with it for now. I did a collaboration with Spyro, a song called Japa, and it's a tune. So maybe I'm going to go back and play again sometime. And then it depends on the feedback. If I'm getting feedback like, oh, okay, maybe they're playing my songs in the club and stuff like that, maybe I can say, okay, maybe I'll be a performing artist, get someone to write the song, then just go to the studio and do it. You know, maybe. Never say never. Who is my favorite Nollywood actress and why? Okay, I think I'm going to give 2 answers, or 3 answers. First of all, the first lady, Genevieve, and that's because she's so good at what she does and she's very professional. And she's a pioneer. She's kind of taking this whole thing to the next level, so yeah. And then for the newer guys, Eferele and Ini, I combined the 2. I just like them. I like their movies too. That's all. My daily routine and what makes Toby Bakre Toby Bakre. You see, I wake up in the morning. First of all, I pray. When you're thankful for the little things, I mean, just wake up with a heart of gratitude, like thank God for life, for the little things. And then after that, I play some music, you know, get into the day already, like fast bumping music. So I'm getting into the shower, I'm already moving, plan out my day, do some exercise. And you know, so when I step out of the house, man, I'm already, the vibe is up there. So nothing can bring me down for the day. So going like that, and it's almost gonna be a good day. Like you see, right now I just have like great vibes. In my head, I'm still playing the song I woke up to. Like it's all good. All right, thank you very much, guys. Signing out.
Mona Lisa is all about me. It's all about you. It's all about our stories. The stories that never get told, but ought to.
Whereby water transportation does not make financial sense, it makes economic sense.
I was there for 2.5 hours on the floor. Nobody attended to me.
If we don't take care of the poor will take care of us.
It's about getting at the root of things and hearing from the horse's mouth.
We have 15 public hospitals to make them affordable.
In the whole of Africa, we are bigger. You know, Nigeria, we sleep, eat, dream, fashion.
Those with the financial backing don't see fashion as an investment, which makes no sense.
If they do it for free, they won't have money for the next case.
Mona Lisa is about real life and real lives, yours and mine. Make a date with Mona Lisa, and together, let's ensure that the important stories get told.
And welcome to Africa on the Move in partnership with DW. I am Fumi Onoajefe. Today, we'll be looking at citizens of the continent making small changes with big impact. We start with Ethiopia, where a young man believes that skateboarding, yes, skateboarding, can help change the attitude of young people. Let's see about that.
Shiromeda, a district of the Ethiopian capital, is better known for its huge garment market than for skateboarding, but that's changing. Israel Dejene founded the Mugabe Skate Project. Mugabe is an Amharic word meaning someone who gives life to others.
The main focus is to help the kids, understand the within power, the within strength. So I always want them to help them focus on no matter how big or small what we have. It's just like when we focus on what we have and use it for positive, that makes a big impact.
Positivity is more than welcome in this neighborhood of roughly 10,000, where poverty is widespread, and young people are easily lured into petty crime.
Kids get involved in, a group fight or like in a stealing, just that, especially on the around the teenage years, that became a problem. They end up being in trouble.
The Mugabe Skate Project keeps the youngsters out of trouble. Israel finances most of the project himself. Skateboarding offers useful life lessons for kids. Whoever falls down learns to get right back up again. That's helping 17-year-old Lucas Ayele rethink his future.
Before I started at Mugabe Skate, I was just hanging around the neighborhood, not doing much. But now I'm learning some positive values.
When youth change their attitudes, people learn to trust the skateboarding community. Girls are joining in too. They get support and encouragement from Israel's sister Muluken, who campaigns for women's rights in Ethiopia.
We talk about we are equal, like boy and girl. We have the same potential. Usually the girls stay at home and the family want them to work inside home, like cooking, washing dish, not more.
So the project is also about sharing the burdens of everyday chores in the community.
Today it's Make Somebody Happy Day, and we are actually going to help the ladies fetch the water. So we just took their water jar and we are going to fetch the water for them.
Water is scarce in Ethiopia, especially during the dry season. Sometimes people have to stand in line for an hour until it's their turn at the tap. Bamlak Nigos, who's been with Mugabe Skate since he was 12, takes the long wait in stride.
Before, I didn't care about anybody else in the community, but now I help people and I've changed.
The youth of Shiromeda see Israel Dejene as a role model. He hopes to expand his skate park beyond Addis Ababa and make the sport popular all across Ethiopia.
From Ethiopia, we head to South Africa, where a young lady, Tabila, is making a difference in the life of orphans with a cake.
Today, Thulasele Rampora celebrates her 16th birthday. She lives in the Christchurch Christian Care Centre, an orphanage in central Johannesburg. Thulasele has been looking forward to this day because every month, the care centre organizes a party for all birthday boys and girls who live at the orphanage. The cake comes from 21-year-old Tabila Tabeta. One day in a month, she visits different orphanages to celebrate all birthday children of that month. With her business Tea Party, she also creates patisserie for paying clients. Tabila uses part of her profits for her birthday cake project.
I always liked to volunteer at orphanages. Even when I was younger, I used to volunteer at orphanages. So what actually happened was I was looking for ways to volunteer, and I Googled different ways to volunteer, and I came across baking birthday cakes for orphans.
The baking does not only make Tabila happy, the children and the young adults also enjoy celebrating their birthdays.
It's a nice feeling.
It's a nice feeling. You feel welcomed, appreciated, and celebrated. Birthdays are often difficult days for orphan children who lost their family. Thulasile lost her parents 8 years ago. When her grandmother gave her into custody of the care center, Thulasile found a new home and family. The center took care of her education. Now she would like to study architecture.
For them, education comes first. At home, I had financial problems. They couldn't take me to school anymore. And yeah, that was a problem. And I was living with my grandmother. Yeah, and she couldn't take care of me.
Tabila learned how to bake from her grandmother, who inspired her. She now wants to do the same with the children at the orphanage. Recently, she started to offer baking classes where she teaches young children how to correctly bake a cake.
With the baking lessons, we try to just make the kids have fun, but at the same time, we also want them to learn. So not only are they learning baking, but they can also learn math at the same time. So this is kind of my way of combining the two things I love. I love children and I love baking, so that's why I thought the baking would be a good idea.
The 50 children that live here, many have gone through trauma, tragedy, pain, heartaches, and grief. And we want to share the joy with them, with people like Tabila. When she comes, it shows that somebody from the outside actually cares for the children. And they are people that have an identity as we celebrate the birthday with them.
Apart from the Christ Church Center, Tabila bakes for 2 more orphanages in Johannesburg. And if finances would allow, she would like to bake for more in the future.
Now, Tabiso in Botswana is a social entrepreneur who sees people who are considered to be at the bottom of the pyramid as potential entrepreneurs.
The Kalahari Desert in central Botswana is home to an indigenous group known as the San. Making a fire requires not just patience, but also skilled hands and a knowledge of local shrubs and other plants. Tabiso Mashaba says this centuries-old wisdom offers these rural communities a unique opportunity.
In a way, we are now about to transition to what we call the knowledge-based economy. And I think indigenous knowledge systems, because they really stem from knowledge of people and people's hands and handiwork, can really help diversify the economy of Botswana, because currently we are in need of people to really enterprise and to make things for themselves and turn them into businesses that can really sustain them.
The San have survived in this harsh environment for centuries. Nowadays, they struggle with unemployment and poverty. Many young people don't see a future here, so they've decided to look for work elsewhere. Tabiso Mashaba believes the San have much to offer modern society, in particular, how to make the most of meager resources. He founded this workshop in the village of Dikar with the help of an American NGO. Design and engineer students work with local residents to develop machines and products that can be used by small businesses.
This is a maker space, which we started basically around 2015 as a concept, and now it's an actual project which the San community in Dikar meet on a day-to-day basis to either get basic ICT skills or to use the power tools and hand tools and materials that we have in the workshop to make themselves the appropriate technologies that address the livelihood challenges that they go through.
People aren't leaving the shade.
Today, a group of American university students is in the workshop. Together with local residents, Shannon McCoy is working on a wheelchair designed for rugged terrain. The invention aims to make elderly people more mobile.
This design is to help make this wheelchair more workable on sand. So we added these chains and gears to turn this into a hand cycle to provide more power. And we also doubled the wheels to provide more traction and surface area on the sand.
The wheelchair is still in the prototype stage. Once the design is finalized, local craftsmen hope to set up businesses to upgrade already existing models. That will help the elderly and the economy.
Instead of seeing those that are at the bottom of the pyramid as a charity case, We should see them as potential innovators and potential entrepreneurs that, if supported well, can actually take the Botswana economy to the next level that is led and driven by knowledge as opposed to by mineral dependency.
Together with the American NGO, Thabiso Mashaba is planning to open more maker spaces in other communities in Botswana.
Our next change agent is from Kenya. He's an investigative journalist who started a program called Africa Uncensored to bring issues like corruption to the fore.
Investigative journalists who question those in power often put themselves at serious risk. Yet this is the path Kenya's John Allen Namu has chosen in his quest for the truth.
We've been working on a story on corruption to do with traffic in the city, and it's a collaboration again with a lot of people who've been working behind the scenes, giving us hidden camera footage, just to show how corruption perpetuates itself with regard to the public transport system, specifically matatus.
The privately owned Matatu minibuses are a $1 billion business, and allegations have long swirled that corrupt police officers are profiting from it. The concern is that corruption has driven up transport prices. This is just one example of John Allen Namu's risky reports.
I think the fear comes after the story starts to be unveiled, because there are a lot of people who will be affected by it. There are a lot of people who will be exposed, and these are people with means to hurt, if not us, the people on the ground, the people who've been helping us with this footage.
Namu founded Africa Uncensored 8 years ago. He covers a wide range of issues on his YouTube channel, including corruption, terrorism, drug trafficking, and organized crime. His documentaries and reports have earned him recognition and respect, both locally and around the world. When, for instance, he looked into the death of a high-ranking Kenyan minister in a mysterious helicopter crash in 2012, he began receiving threats.
We felt that there was an attempt to stifle the space of journalists. And personally, because I've always wanted to do this and tell stories that I have a personal input in seeing that they are important. So that's how Africa Uncensored started.
John Allen Namu closely collaborates in his work with his wife, Sheena Makina, a video editor. But whenever he is out on assignment, she says she wonders whether taking such risks for the sake of transparency is worth it.
A lot of stories, of course, are dangerous. And he also has to be away from us a lot of the time. A couple of years back, I was doing a fairly sensitive story that actually had us leave the country. We had to go into, safe house, and we had to be relocated, and our lives were really, we had to take the kids out of school.
Namu does not focus on high-profile issues, but rather ones he says need to be exposed for the sake of the country. In his view, ordinary people are the ones who suffer the most from corruption. And he firmly believes each report was worth the risks he takes.
It's rewarding to me personally, because I feel that I'm doing something that's impactful in the long run. It might not be recognized today or even tomorrow, but in the long run, I think my entire body of work will stand for something, and that's what fulfills me.
John Allen Namu's story about Kenya's minibus taxis sparked a lively debate after it aired. And with Kenya ranked as one of the most corrupt countries in the world, it's unlikely he will soon run out of work.
Now, being an investigative journalist has its risk, and we are proud of John and his wife who have risked their lives. We wish them all the best. Next on our list is Hamzat Lawal, an activist helping a small village fight lead poisoning.
Residents in the village of Shakira are trying to put the past behind them. In May 2015, more than 20 children here died of lead poisoning after drinking contaminated water. We took my son to the hospital, and they told us he had been exposed to lead. He later died. We are now very careful. We hope we'll be able to protect ourselves better in the future. The government promised to help the villagers. It said it would build a new health center and provide fresh, uncontaminated drinking water. But people here fear that the funds will end up lining someone's pocket. Luckily, the residents of Shakira have a champion here, a few hundred kilometers away in Abuja. Activist Hamza Laval is committed to fighting corruption in Nigeria. His initiative, called Follow the Money, monitors government spending and finds out where the money really goes. It then publishes its findings. Laval is traveling to Shakira. For him, this visit is about more than just cleaning up the water.
How can we ensure that we can still keep that momentum going beyond just environmental cleanup and access to healthcare services?
The activist arrives to see things for himself. Most families in Shakira make their living from gold mining. Young people dig deep holes in the ground, hoping to strike gold. They then crush the ore to extract the precious mineral. But the ore also contains lead, which is ground into dust. The toxic particles eventually find their way into the water supply. The miners and their families are slowly being poisoned. The government is turning a blind eye to the root causes, despite its promises to help.
We have shot interview with our mobile phones and also taking pictures of them and sharing this information on Twitter and Facebook and calling them to action and showing them this evidence-based data.
The government has kept its promise to build a new health center. It was built after the number of lead poisoning cases began to grow and more children began to die. It means that finally, lives can be saved. My child began to convulse. I've been bringing her here regularly for treatment, and now she's doing better. Hamzat Laval is monitoring the whole process. Although gold diggers are still working the lead-contaminated earth, he's happy about the health center.
You can see family members coming to access healthcare services for their children under 5 years who were contaminated by lead poisoning and now receiving treatment and feeling much better. It's quite exciting for us.
Although little has been done to provide alternative means of employment, the government says it'll try to regulate gold mining operations in Shakira. Anti-corruption activists say they'll make sure that doesn't remain an empty promise.
And today, we end the show with another activist, Pupa Fumba, in South Africa, who believes that citizens have the right to know and protest democratic processes.
For months, activist Pupa Fumba has demonstrated against plans to build new nuclear power plants in South Africa. The government was planning to invest an estimated €70 billion in the plants, but the Cape Town High Court ruled that the plans were unlawful. The decision-making process didn't comply with constitutional standards. A victory for Pupa and his fellow activists from the Right to Know campaign. They want the government to rethink its priorities and invest in more pressing issues like supporting underprivileged communities.
We here in solidarity and also we say that away with nuclear deal, and then it is not going to compensate the issues that we are faced up with, such as water issues, access to better of sanitation, access to housing, and better equality of education.
Pupa heads to the Right to Know office. The group is one of South Africa's most active civil society movements. Pupa's been involved since it started in 2010. He and fellow activist Noma Mabayo discuss protest action and how to publicise the importance of democratic decision-making. The internet and social media may be the most popular ways of spreading information nowadays, but Pupa and his team rely on workshops and pamphlets. There's not much access to Google in poorer communities, says Norma.
South Africa is a very democratic country on paper, but when it comes to reality, people still demand meaningful engagement. The access to information is still not there. Freedom of expression in terms of accessing through media is still not there.
In 2010, the South African government tried to pass the Secrecy Bill, which would allow government officials to withhold information from the public without giving reasons. Thousands gathered before the Parliament in Cape Town to demonstrate against it. The Right to Know campaign was born. Even though the bill did get passed in 2013, it's not yet been signed into law. The campaign has some prominent supporters.
In August 2010, I signed on to the Right to Know campaign because as South Africans, we have fought so long for an open and democratic society.
Pupa is determined to fight for democracy. A day after the protest march, he hands out flyers in Cape Town's city centre on the hazards of nuclear energy. He's keen to prepare the ground for protests against future nuclear plans. Pupa is unfazed by any form of rejection. Growing up under apartheid and in a politically active family didn't leave him with much choice, he says.
The family that I grew up with, I've never been allowed a space whereby I cannot be an activist. So you become an activist because you are non-political affiliate, you know, and the issues that you speak on are human rights issues.
Pupa volunteers full-time for Right to Know, aiming for a truly democratic South Africa.
And that's all on Africa on the Move this week. Ensure you're making your own small impact that will create a ripple effect of change. Have a good week.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event
on Plus TV. Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time. Oftentimes when we see celebrities either on social media, television, or in person, we assume they have it all together, but we forget that they're also human. Well, here are some of the low points of some of your favorite celebrities.
Story. Once upon a time, there was a very young, agile, vivacious, spunky, unconventional Pikin. You have all come to know and love as Brother Dirili, Shewiri, and all of the above. But you see, getting to this very point in time has been a story of hurdles. I have crossed so many hurdles. I've broken down ceilings. I've crashed barriers. I've scaled mountains, figuratively speaking. Because you know what? For every single door that was shut on my face, you know what? I found another door. For every time I was put in a box, I jumped right out of that box. I am still in an industry where I have to constantly prove myself. Not the fact that I have to prove myself to myself, but I have to prove myself every time how resilient I can be and how much of an identity and strong force that I must be. So you know what? This is my celebrity story. My story is like $1 million question rolled into one.
My story for today, which hopefully will inspire you, is that when I was 17, my mom died. And at the time, my mom was the only one that had been encouraging me as far as acting was concerned. My dad was not for it at all. And on her deathbed, she told my father, let this girl do what she wants to do. Unfortunately, he was still against it. And I went to theatre school, much to his disdain. But the thing is, even though I went through a lot of stuff because he refused to like sponsor me because I was doing what he didn't want me to do, I endeavored, I worked, you know, I had many jobs. I used to do all kinds of stuff. I used to braid hair. You know, there's a lot of stuff I do people don't know about just to make ends meet. Some days it would be between transport and food and all kinds of things. But I endeavored, I worked hard, I stuck to what I wanted to do, and finally I am here. And as far as I'm concerned, I've only just begun. But I am here, and I'm going to keep on pushing on until that Oscar sits on top of my table. So, you know, no matter what it is that you want to do, so far it's a good thing. Don't let anyone discourage you. There will always be a way around it if you just put your head down and put in the work.
What's up, everybody? They call me Road Boy. Now, let me share a brief and a small story for you guys, okay? I used to be a young boy who never had this experience of having parents coming to pick you in school or taking you to school. You know, those kind of things that if you woke up in the morning as early as 6, you dress up everything by 6:30, it will take you like 1 hour, 20 minutes to get to my school. I never had that experience of waiting for a driver to come and pick me in school. You know, that kind of lifestyle whereby even your parents will prepare breakfast for you or lunch for you to take in school. It was all about survivors, okay? But today, I want to tell you guys something. Maybe my parents took it that way for me because they never had, but I promised myself when I was young, if I ever made money, my children are not going to go through that. I'll provide everything for my kids, transportation, security, whatever, okay? So let me tell you, so whatever you're going through in life today, make sure you keep your head up because whatever you're experiencing, it will give you that power, that strength not to allow your kids to go through that. Road Boy says so. Bless her.
Before Jennifer's Diary, I would go for, to be honest, I did not think I was going to be an actor. I just thought I was going to sing. How I got into acting, one particular day, I went to church for rehearsals, choir rehearsal, and then I got there early. My friend called that she had written my name in some audition. I was like, audition, ads free, me? I know they do. So she was like, come through, they're waiting. So because rehearsals had not started and the place wasn't so far from where I was, so I was like, okay, I'll just go and see what's up. Thereafter, I started going for auditions and auditions and auditions. Some people will say really nasty stuff to you. Instead of them to just say, no, go. They will yab you. They will make you not believe in yourself. You just feel like giving up. So I just chilled. And then one particular time, I got a BC, 1,000 Days of Blackberry. My friend sent me an audition BC. It was for Jennifer's Diary. So I said, guy, I know they go. All these things, they don't already get people where they want to put there. So I'm not going to go. So I was like, go. My mom told me to go. My dad told me to go, the amazing man, and my friend. So I didn't even know what to wear. So I was discouraged, like, nah, I'm not going to go. But my friend, thankfully, she works for Genevieve at the time. By the way, I love. I cannot explain the love I have for Genevieve. The place was crowded and I don't like crowd. So I went to hide in the restroom as always. That's what I always do. So I was there till like 8 p.m. For real. I called my mom. Mom, I'm leaving. She said, no, too bad it's audition. So I stayed there. 9 p.m. I auditioned. In my head, I was like, there's no way they wouldn't have found people they need. A couple of weeks after, they called me for the second audition. We did a third audition. We did the final reading. We're quite a number of people reading for Toyosi. At the end of the day, as God would have it, I got the role for Jennifer's Diary to play Toyosi. I did not have any idea that the character was going to have so much continuity. I don't even know. I didn't know that I was going to be in several seasons. So, yeah, and that's how I found myself in Jennifer's Diary series.
Welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways.
I feel with technology,
there's so much and there's nowhere we cannot go to.
One of the biggest problems we have today are people not adhering to planning and also particularly building control.
I believe that I don't need more than a 3-bedroom apartment, but people still believe that I must own a mansion that shows that yes, I'm wealthy and all of that.
We need to be realistic and understand that we need to live in smaller and smaller spaces.
Most of the
Thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines, and I am Amaka Okoye. 5 more deaths have been confirmed in Taraba and Kano states, and cases of the infections are also increasing. In Taraba State, Commissioner for Health Innocent Vakai disclosed that 4 local government areas are affected, and they are Bali, Adokola, Gasol, and Jalingo. He said those who had contact with the victims have been moved to a Lassa treatment center in Jalingo. In Kaduna State, the family of the victim and about 10 other persons are being monitored closely. The Ministry of Environment has tasked Nigerians to join the campaign against Lassa fever by ensuring the environment and surroundings remain clean. The Minister Mohammed Mahmoud, while speaking to newsmen in Abuja, blames the ongoing epidemic, which has claimed about 29 lives across 11 states of the Federation, to poor sanitary hygiene management. Our correspondent, Joseph Idong, tells us more.
The current outbreak of Lassa fever across the nation has already claimed several lives. According to the Ministry of Environment, 11 states have witnessed the epidemic with a fear that it will spread to more states of the nation. The ministry says it is doing all it can with the National Center for Disease Control to contain the virus. The Minister of Environment, Mohammed Mahmoud, while blaming the spread of the virus to lack of proper hygiene, says it is high time the public make efforts to improve public health and sanitation.
Citizens are advised to imbibe good sanitation and hygiene practices and take preventive and control measures that include 1. Keeping the environment clean to avoid contact with rodents. 2. Keeping food away from rodents. 3. Storing grains and other foodstuff in rodent-proof containers.
Mr. Momo says the federal government will not relent in its effort to continue educating the public on the benefit of proper hygiene management and also intensify its effort through proper cooperation among stakeholders.
The ministry is putting in place environmental health and sanitation surveillance system. This surveillance system will strengthen the cooperation between state and federal government on environmental health and sanitation issues. It will also help in information data gathering and sharing between federal, state, and local governments.
Some of the stakeholders believe the fight against Lassa fever should be a collaborative effort and urge the public to live up to their responsibilities.
The government will not come and flock an individual in his house to clean up his house. So the quicker the Nigerian community, all of us, keep our environment clean, take the issues of personal hygiene seriously, the quicker we're able to contain the epidemic.
Idong Joseph, Plus TV Africa.
Now, reports reaching us indicate fire has gutted Sabo Market in Shagamu, Ogun State on Tuesday morning. As of the time of this report, the fire is yet to be put out. Details of the fire outbreak are still sketchy. We will keep you informed as it unfolds. Moving on, Lagos State government has decried the rate of motorcycle and tricycle accidents on roads across the state. In order to check this, the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omotosho, announced that the government would enforce the ban on motorcycles and tricycles in 6 local government areas as well as major highways and bridges from February the 1st. He explained that the decision was taken after a robust assessment of the debate on the rate of accidents in Lagos, saying security and safety of lives of the residents were paramount. From 2016 to 2019, there were over 10,000 accidents recorded at the general hospitals alone.
After consultations with stakeholders, the State Security Council, in compliance with the Extant Transport Sector Reform Law 2018, has decided to commence enforcement of the law which bans the operation of motorcycles and tricycles in the following local governments and local council development areas: Apapa local government and Apapa Igamu SCDA, Lagos mainland local government and Yaba SCDA, Surulere local government and Itire Ikate and Koka Aguda SCDAs, Ikeja local government, Onibombo and Ojodu SCDA, Etiosa local government, Ikoyi Obalende and Iru Victoria Island SCDAs, Lagos Island local government and Lagos Island East SCDA. The full employment begins on February 1, 2020. This is the first stage.
Areas where we're phasing out Okada as well as Keke Napep would roll out more buses and ensure that people are adequately served. So we looked into that. The key point here is that we need to make transportation safe. Keke Napep and Okada in those areas in particular are not safe. They contribute to congestion, and we need to remove the gridlocks. So the STMP, that's the Strategic Transport Master Plan, is being rolled out, and those areas will be served adequately with buses.
And now Chinedu Azodo, who is the Chief Growth Officer and co-founder of Max NG, joins me now in the studio to discuss this new development. First of all, what's your reaction when this news broke?
So it was interesting to find out about this news from the media rather than potentially from the government. I think every responsible government that cares about the impact of its decisions and its laws on people usually would engage stakeholders. I think the key thing that the way this was broken essentially shows that there's little value for the democratic process and how this affects our people, and what it does for them. I mean, consider that laws like this put in Lagos 800,000 people at risk, right? In terms of Okada transport drivers alone, right? And not to think about the people who leverage those services. You see, if there wasn't a problem today with the way transportation happens in Lagos, motorcycles wouldn't be there solving that problem, right? I mean, that was surprising.
All right. Now, the government, of course, in that statement, which we heard and which we watched, said they're going to provide alternative without mentioning what they are and without giving specifics. Right. Now, what are your expectations as someone who, who is in this business, as I do know?
So there are no practical alternatives. I mean, think about places like Apapa, Lagos Island, Lagos Mainland, Lekki Phase 1, a bunch of places. There are no real alternatives, right? The alternatives that we've heard them moot are buses. The problem is that buses don't solve the problem. For buses to operate, you must have big roads. We don't have big roads. Lagos is a poor city, right? I mean, for being factual, right? We don't have the capacity and the money to continue to spend on building the infrastructure that will make the city of buses, quote unquote, right? And then when you have policy somersault like this, it also it scares potential investors into coming to places like Lagos, because it shows that there's a lot of inconsistency and some confusion, and that's very risky for people to actually put their money into. So you will struggle to see private people want to make the kind of investment in building out infrastructure that could make buses or trains work today.
All right. The government, again, following that statement, which we heard by Omotosho there, says this banning is largely blamed on accident and road crashes, from 2016, according to the statements, to 2019, about 3-4 years now. They've recorded over 10,000 accidents. Those are the ones that are recorded. Of course, there are others that are not accounted for. Now, do you think that this is the solution yet to the problem?
I mean, absolutely not, right? When you take things as a singular and say, oh, because of accidents happening, we're going to ban Okadas, right? You don't take into account the fact that the #1 killer of young people in Nigeria and across most of Sub-Saharan Africa today is road transport accidents. Are you then going to ban cars and trucks and buses and everything else on the road because that is what is #1 killer of young people? Absolutely not. Common sense prevails and says that you should look at the problem and then try to solve, right? What we're seeing, so when you say 10,000 accidents between 2016 and 2019, and say,
over 10,000.
Over 10,000. Oh, Okadas have caused that. How many have been caused by cars, right? Now, even beyond that, let's look at, regulated companies like Max, for example. what have we done? What are the numbers? We've had 0 fatalities since operation. We've been operating for almost 5 years today. We have over 2,000 drivers on our platform working, right, and making more than, on average, about 200,000 naira a month take home for their families, right? And after about a year to a year and a half, they now own their own motorcycles through a lease-to-own model. And at the end of that period, their income also grows 40% because they're no longer repaying loans that they've taken to pay for these vehicles. So there's a lot of things that are not being taken into account. We're just throwing out random numbers, or we're just throwing out numbers, however factual they are, and not taking into account context. So yes, as an industry, there have been 10,000 Okada accidents in the last.
No, I mean, well, they didn't say just
years.
Okada accidents.
No, obviously. No. Well, I mean, so the 10,000 number is targeted specifically at Okada accidents. So there have been 10,000 Okada accidents from 2016 to 2019. Okay, fantastic, right? How many accidents have companies like Max registered, right? What about things like we use, for example, what are we doing to ensure things like that don't happen? So, for example, we use predictive analytics, which is quite interesting mathematics and science, to essentially, in real time, tell how risky a driver is on the road and make a decision to pull him off or not to pull him off. And what that does is that it minimizes risks of accidents on our platform. Where there's a potential fender bender or anything like that, and we've asked drivers to come in and they don't want to come in, we actually have a response team that goes in and actually brings those drivers in and forces them in. And the key thing we want to be able to do is to find out what the issues are and how we can help solve them. They've also talked about safety and security being like, we have a lot of immigrants coming into the city that are putting us at risk and all sorts. Every driver who comes into our platform is fully registered and background checked.
Now let's
and they must come in guarantors.
Okay, so I appreciate that you're making all of this explanation and letting us see this other side that we're not seeing. However, 10 bridges and 15 highways, 15 local government areas, 10 highways and 40 bridges are affected, going to be affected by this ban, which is just 4 days away. And I know certainly these are areas that your own group, champions, as you like to call it, they ply those routes. What is the impact for you, first of all, as a business owner, a business organization, and as an employer of labor? What impact does this have?
Fantastic question. This is a war on poor people, right? Because let's look at it. These bridges and things we're talking about, highways, it's typically people who live in farther communities who have to commute every day to work, right? And want to be able to get more rest in the morning and be more productive at work, correct? So they are going to get on motorcycles to get them through those highways and bridges. Because, people have cars, or people who are making this decision, a lot of them drive around in comfortable air-conditioned cars, right? They assume that the poor man should go and do the same thing, and there's something fundamentally inconsiderate of the Lagos people about in that sense. I mean, Lagos people have voted these people in, and Lagos people have stepped up and said that they will use these services because it solves a fundamental problem for them. So banning it and essentially making them lose access to, what helps them improve productivity during the day because they're not going to sit in traffic doesn't make sense. I mean, how can you ban Okada and Keke in a place like Apapa? Apapa roads are not motorable.
That's correct.
Right? So it makes absolutely no sense. And then when you even think about it from the legal and regulatory standpoint, we've referenced in the ban, they've referenced the 2018 Transport Reform Law of Lagos, right? Section 15 of the Lagos State Transport Sector Reform Law clearly states, and I read, subject to the provision of Section 46 of this law, motorcycles above 200 cc's are exempted from the restriction on the use of motorcycles on the state highways. So even by the Lagos State law, this ban is illegal, right? What the ban is a ban on vehicles and motorcycles below 200 cc engine capacity. So the experience and what we're seeing is that technically these bans shouldn't affect us, right? But we have to make sure that law enforcement and the people who are going to enforce these bans are properly educated on what the impact is.
Now, before I let you go, Mr. Azodo, what's your stand as an organization on this ban? We just have 4 days. By the 1st of February, which is on Saturday, putting it in perspective, this will be happening. What's your stand as an organization?
Look, Lagos is the center of excellence, right? And I believe in a greater Lagos. And we believe as an organization in a greater Lagos. And we believe that Lagos, people come to Lagos because Lagos has the capacity to transform lives. Lagos has had that capacity, not because of a restrictive, destructive government, but because of a government that is forward-thinking and open to the future. When you look at cities in Asia, look at places like Jakarta, right? Countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Bangladesh, you will see that those countries have just as high population or higher population than Nigeria, and cities that are denser than Lagos. And a key solution they have developed that has worked and is scaling is motorcycle taxis, and they've worked with organizations like Gojek and Grab to make that happen, right? A forward-thinking Lagos is a Lagos that sees the future, sees the problems and figures out solutions. That means people like us who are actually bringing solutions to this problem, going out, working with investors, bringing FDI into the country, and employing people. I mean, we're employing 2,200 people, right? Not including office staff. And the average driver supports 7 people. We've also created over 70,000 indirect jobs over the last 4.5 years, right? So the ban is an affront to the people of Lagos, right? It is a fight against poverty, right? It is destruction of poor people, because the people who are most at risk are poor people. And you see, when you expose them and treat them this way, what options do they have left? You can't say you want safety and security and then take bread from somebody's mouth. What exactly are they going to do?
We would like to keep you here, but we are out of time. So I must say thank you very much for coming. And we've been speaking with the Chief Growth Officer of Max NG, Chinedu Azodo. The news will continue after the short break. We'll be back in a moment. That's
We are not yet at a point where a lawyer like Fashola should be the Minister of Housing. We are not there yet.
But what about the social implications that are much more than an architect?
Even if we get a 3-digit number, will our computers work?
There is no hope. Let's not deceive us.
But it doesn't mean that there isn't hope, because I believe so that there is hope.
Oh, you must be with one woman. You must be with these are Igbo ways. African
your wife is in on it, we have no problem.
Different.
We have that value system that we got from our royal days and everything. That gives us a sense of identity.
My question is, who is the we?
Which part?
That's going to allow for an Igbo presidency in 2023? Because I mean, it is not you and I.
If we want to have the last presidency based on rotation,
yes, then
we
needs
better
to
just
be
go
an
to the
Igbo
Southeast,
presidency.
finish with him, and then say the post is now open.
I'll go to the African scenes now, where 2 charity vessels that have rescued 484 migrants over the past days on Monday waited to bring their passengers ashore to Italy or Malta. The Ocean Viking, run by SOS Mediterranean, has picked up 407 people over 5 rescue operations since Friday. Among them were 152 minors, including 10 under the age of 5 and 12 pregnant women. In a statement, SOS Mediterranean said it had asked both Italian and Maltese authorities to offer a safe port for the arrival of the migrants. A further 77 migrants are on board the Alan Kurdi, operated by German charity CI. A CI spokesman, Gordon Isler, said Malta has refused to take in the Alan Kurdi, saying it is already overrun with migrants, while Italy has not yet responded. And that will be it on the African seas. Coming up next is the foreign news. And on the foreign scenes, the death toll from the new coronavirus now stands at 106, with the number of infections almost doubling in a day to more than 4,500. The rise comes as governments scramble to control the spread of the virus. Hong Kong is going to slash cross-border travel with mainland China. Meanwhile, Japan is sending a plane to Wuhan, the epicenter of the outbreak, to evacuate its citizens. The virus has spread across China and to at least 16 countries globally. Wuhan, as well as wider Hubei province, are already effectively in a lockdown with strict transport restrictions in and out of the area. Wearing masks in public is now mandatory in some Chinese cities. And that's it on the foreign scenes. Coming up next is the business news.
This medal has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
When I start hearing the shoot of guns,
whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
Mona Lisa is all about me. It's all about you. It's all about our stories. The stories that never get told, but ought to.
Whereby water transportation does not make financial sense, it makes economic sense.
I was there for 2.5 hours on the floor. Nobody attended to me.
If we don't take care of the poor will take care of us.
It's about getting at the root of things and hearing from the horse's mouth.
We have 15 public hospitals to make them affordable.
In the whole of Africa, we are bigger. You know, Nigeria, we sleep, eat, dream, fashion.
Those with the financial backing don't see fashion as an investment, which makes no sense.
If they do it for free, they won't have money for the next case.
Mona Lisa is about real life and real lives, yours and mine. Make a date with Mona Lisa, and together, let's ensure that the important stories get told.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Vicky November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. Yes, we don't like politicians, fine, but they can also be sick.
I think that we also don't apportion the right level of prioritization to healthcare. Even in the presidential villa, you can't get basic paracetamol. Then what are we saying? When you go to certain hospitals, if you're with a HMO, they put you aside.
The HMO guys have to work within a budget, which you cannot blame them for. How much will healthcare for Nigeria cost? Nobody can give you a figure.
Hey.
Let's be fair.
Yeah.
It is your right to seek health care anywhere you choose. If they're saying you can access care anywhere you choose, that's fine. But the taxpayer will not pay.
The money.
Especially if it's something that can be treated within the country.
And in business, the Lagos State government has decried the rate of motorcycle and tricycle accidents on roads across the state. In order to check this, the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omotosho, announced that the government would reinforce the ban on motorcycles and tricycles in 6 local government areas, as well as major highways and bridges from February 1st. Still live in the studio with us is Chinedu Azodo. He's the co-founder and chief growth officer at max.ng. Thank you for still staying with us.
Thank you for having me.
First things first, was there any prior engagement with stakeholders before this was, made public?
This was news to us. We actually heard about this from the media people who were calling to ask questions yesterday.
And what did this mean to you?
I mean, I was shocked. I was like, wait, what, really? And then we had to go on the internet because there was no formal notification, nothing. We went on Twitter and saw a video of the press conference. I think for us, it's a bit reckless the way it's been done, right? Beyond that, I think the biggest concern is, like I pointed earlier, right? Within the legal framework that they've referenced, which is the 2018 Transportation Law or Transport Sector Reform Law, Section 46 clearly indicates that this ban doesn't affect certain motorcycles. So motorcycles with an engine capacity of 200 cc's.
What do you mean by 200 cc's?
So 200 cc's are entry-level power bikes, essentially. Because when you think about this, right, the idea is individuals should be able to ride power bikes in Lagos, right? Modern city and all.
Yes.
So what people like us have done is to now say, we're seeing that traffic is a massive problem. And not just traffic, but like, just navigation, convenience, quality of roads, all those things are massive problems. A key thing that helps us solve that is providing safe being a key word for us, affordable, accessible, and sustainable transportation with motorcycles, right? And we've predominantly done that. As people have used these motorcycles and have gone around the city, they've experienced and enjoyed the service. When this ban, we recognize that there's a ban that the government wants to put in, that the ban government wants to enforce. It makes sense to an extent. It makes sense because people like us are able to operate independent of the ban, right? And we're regulated.
What does this portend for in terms of earning capacity now of the bike riders? What does this portend for them?
So that's a fantastic question. The average driver on the Max platform today takes home or makes about 200,000 naira, right? And after about 1.5 years to 2 years, when they finish paying off their lease, they start to make about 40% more on their income per year, right? If you're going to limit the drivers from getting on the highways,
10 highways, 15 local government areas, 40 bridges.
If you make all those limits and enforce all those limits, the drivers on average can expect to make somewhere between 40 and 60,000 a month, right? And they're not accounting for the dues they will pay to unions and police because people like us are no longer will no longer be operational if they want to include us in that ban, right? And when you think about the category of drivers we have, from what we're seeing, there's a lot of misinformation about the quality of drivers that we have on the market. A lot of our drivers are well-educated people with bachelor's degrees. Think about, photographers. Think about, we have guys who are music teachers on our group, on our platform, and a bunch of other people. A lot of these guys are people who their work is a little seasonal, or they don't make enough money. So they do this for 3/4 of their day or for a lot of the time, and then when they find other jobs, they will do other jobs on the side to supplement their income. This allows them to, be able to take care of their families, earn income properly, live a dignified life, and have good quality of living. If you enforce this ban and include vehicles that are over 200 cc in engine capacity, right, you will drastically affect the quality of life of these people.
So there's a ripple effect somewhere.
Massive ripple effect. Think about the fact that platforms like us, especially Max, we provide not just better income for these drivers, we're providing social security. So we do provide health insurance for these drivers. Every single one of them have health insurance, right? They have group accident, they have group life. They're properly well taken care of, right? Because we see them as, we're building entrepreneurs, like micro entrepreneurs who then have the capacity to build their own other businesses and then go on to impact their lives and protect their children and give them a better tomorrow.
Well, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. Because of time, this is all we can have. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that's all on Business News.
We are not yet at a point where a lawyer like Fashola should be the Minister of Housing. We are not there yet.
But what about the social implications that are much more than an architect?
Even if we get a 3-digit number, will our computers work?
There is no hope. Let's not deceive us.
But it doesn't mean that there isn't hope, because I believe so that there is hope.
You must be with one woman. You must be with, these are Igbo ways. African
your wife is in on it, we have no problem.
Different.
We have that value system that we got from our royal days and everything. That gives us a sense of identity.
My question is, who is the we?
Which part?
That's going to allow for an Igbo presidency in 2023. Because it is not you and I.
If we want to have the last presidency based on rotation,
then
we better just go to the Southeast, finish with him, and then say the post is now open.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
you, Irene Ubani, with the business news there. And that's our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is at Plus TV Africa. We will be back again with more stories making the headlines. Please do join us again. I am Amaka Okoye. Have yourselves a good day.
This is Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest and the best entertainment stories in the world of entertainment. My name is Elsie Godwin, and I've got my co-anchors with me, Nimi Dekombi and Ifeoluwa Oshoke. Hey guys, how you doing? How are you doing?
I think I missed the mem. Okay, that's a crane. That's white. Okay.
So white. There's white in there.
Nah, I got my pink.
There's pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, your shirt is not bad.
Did you see the video where someone was saying Jay-Z was wearing pink? That was Jay-Z.
Yeah, that's Marv. It's Marv, man.
I remember them like, even if it's pink, what's the big deal?
No, Jay-Z doesn't want to be associated with pink. You know,
Why?
It takes a man with confidence in his sexuality.
So you have confidence, Ife?
Yeah, I would.
So you are saying Jay-Z does not have confidence in his sexuality?
Well,
that's what we just said.
That is
pink is pink. Anybody can wear anything that he wants.
Oh well, no. That's what I'm. No. Don't let us even bring Jay-Z into that. It was just correcting the fact that look, it was like the day that I was wearing peach and you guys insisted that it was pink. I had to insist that it was pink, not because I wouldn't wear pink, but I had to insist that no,
today
it's
this
not
is
pink.
right?
Yeah, this is definitely pink. Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
So Marv, pink, whatever. It takes men with confidence in their sexuality.
Okay, that's fine.
Don't you think so too?
I don't think so.
You don't think so too?
Yeah, I think it's just personal preference. I like pink. I want to wear pink. It doesn't mean you're confident in your sexuality.
A lot of men, people attribute down pink to the female.
Let's not go deep into this matter.
Exactly.
Don't worry. You are confident.
Let us not.
Jay-Z is confident.
Yeah, Jay-Z is also
that's
right.
So, Nollywood actor Ernest Azuzu is reportedly down with stroke and begging for money for treatment. In a video which has since gone viral, Ernest is said to have been spotted begging for money along the road. This video has been going around since yesterday. I think an Instagram user shared it, and I mean, of course, I recognized the face.
Yeah, I also did. It was very good.
I don't know. It is quite sad.
Yeah, it just reminds me of the whole Baba Suwe. Baba Suwe also had something like this where he was sick, and then people had to gather to help him out and all that. But for me, I was just like,
you said it reminds you of Baba Suwe, but for me, it reminds me of the conversation we've had on this table, even with the president of the Actors Guild of Nigeria, Mika Rolas. We talked about the health insurance, not even reality. What are they doing about health insurance and all? And he said they have an issue whereby even when they go out of their way, I think Mona Lisa, the PRO, was also on the show that day, when they go out of their way to go and